I am Reed. I am 27, just an average dude. I've made tons of money mistakes in my 20s, and now I want to share everything I've learned to help you take control of your finances and your life. I want to talk about something today that honestly hits close to home, like really close, and I think if you are honest with yourself, it might hit close to home for you too. It is about comfort. And I am not talking about the good kind of comfort, not the comfort of a warm bed after a long day or the comfort of a good meal with people you love. I am talking about the dangerous kind, the kind that sneaks up on you, the kind that feels harmless in the moment, but slowly starts to wrap itself around your entire life until you wake up one day and realize you haven't moved forward in years. And here is the thing that gets me. Most people don't realize how badly comfort is ruining them. They think they are fine, they think they are just taking it easy, they think they deserve a break, and sometimes you do deserve a break. But when that break becomes your whole lifestyle, that is when things get scary. Let me tell you my story real quick because I think it explains this better than any lecture ever could. When I was 20, maybe 21, I was a mess, not like a dramatic Hollywood mess where I was running from the law or anything dramatic like that. I was the quiet kind of mess, the kind where you look fine on the outside, but inside, you are completely off track. I was broke all the time. I had credit card debt piling up. I was spending money I didn't have on things I didn't need. I would buy coffee every morning even though I had coffee at home. I would order takeout because cooking felt like too much effort. I would buy clothes I barely wore, and the craziest part was I didn't even feel bad about it. In the moment, it felt normal. Everyone around me was doing the same thing. Buy now, pay later, right? That was basically my life motto, and at the same time, I was completely avoiding anything hard. I knew I should be saving money. I knew I should be learning new skills. I knew I should be thinking about my future. But every time that thought came up, I would push it away. I would watch another YouTube video. I would play video games for hours. I would scroll through Instagram until my eyes hurt, and I told myself I was just relaxing. I told myself I was just taking a break. I told myself tomorrow I would start, but tomorrow never came. And that is the thing about comfort. It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels nice. It feels safe. It feels normal. Sleeping in feels harmless. Scrolling for hours feels harmless. Putting things off until tomorrow feels harmless. But when you do that every single day, comfort stops being rest, it becomes your whole life. I remember one specific moment that really got to me. I was sitting on my couch at like 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday. I had been watching videos for like 4 hours straight. My room was a mess. My bank account was almost empty. I had a pile of bills I was ignoring, and I just sat there feeling this weird emptiness. Like I was busy, but I was doing anything. I was tired, but I hadn't done anything hard. I felt like I needed a rest, but honestly, all I had been doing was resting. That is when it hit me. I was resting, I was hiding from my life, and that realization was brutal because I think that is where a lot of people get trapped. When people hear the word comfort, they imagine something small. They imagine relaxing, taking a break, having an easy day. But that is not the real problem. The problem is when your whole life starts to build around avoiding anything hard, anything uncomfortable, anything boring, anything that takes effort, anything that doesn't give you instant pleasure. That is when comfort starts to destroy you. Because the truth is almost everything good for you feels uncomfortable at first. Learning a new skill is uncomfortable. Working out is uncomfortable. Studying is uncomfortable. Starting something new is really uncomfortable. Even focusing for more than 10 minutes is uncomfortable. Now for a lot of people, and instead of pushing through that feeling, most people instantly run back to what feels easy. They grab their phone, they distract themselves, they tell themselves they will do it later, and that later never comes. When I was in my early 20s, I was the king of this. I would tell myself I would start budgeting next month. I would tell myself I would start exercising next week. I would tell myself I would start that side hustle tomorrow, and every single time discomfort showed up, I folded. Budgeting was uncomfortable because it meant facing the truth about my spending. Exercising was uncomfortable because it meant being sore and tired. Starting a side hustle was uncomfortable because it meant learning something new and risking failure. So I just avoided all of it, and I paid the price. I stayed broke, I stayed stuck. I stayed in the same place while watching other people move forward, and the worst part was, I couldn't even blame anyone else. I couldn't blame my parents because they gave me a solid upbringing. I couldn't blame my job because I had a decent job. I couldn't blame my circumstances because honestly my circumstances were fine. The problem was me. I had become addicted to easy, and I didn't even see it. That is the scary part. Comfort makes you feel like you are okay when you are actually wasting your life. You feel busy, but you are not doing anything. You feel tired, but you haven't done anything hard. You feel like you need a rest, but what you actually need is discipline. And I know that sounds harsh. I know discipline is not a fun word. Nobody wakes up excited about discipline, but let me tell you what changed for me. Once I finally got honest with myself, I realized I had to start small. I couldn't just flip a switch and become this perfect disciplined person overnight. That never works. What worked was doing tiny, uncomfortable things every day. Just the smallest things that pushed me slightly out of my comfort zone. I started by setting a wake-up time and actually sticking to it. No hitting snooze, no lying in bed for 30 minutes. Scrolling just get up, that was it. It sounds so simple, but it was genuinely hard for me at first. I was so used to sleeping in that even getting up at 7 in the morning felt like a punishment. But I did it. And after a few weeks it got easier, so I added another thing. I started cooking my own meals instead of ordering takeout. It was uncomfortable because I was bad at cooking. I burned things, I made disgusting meals, but I kept doing it, and eventually I got better and I saved so much money. Like genuinely a crazy amount of money. I was spending like $300, $400 a month on eating out and delivery. Once I started cooking at home, that dropped to maybe $100. That is hundreds of dollars a month. I was literally burning on comfort. And then I added another thing. I started tracking every single dollar I spent. That was really uncomfortable because I had to look at all the dumb purchases I was making. The random Amazon buys, the overpriced coffees, the subscriptions I forgot I even had. Seeing it all on paper was painful, but it was also freeing because once I saw where my money was going, I could actually do something about it. I paid off my debt. I built an emergency fund. I started saving for the future. None of that happened overnight. It happened because I chose discomfort over comfort 100 small times until it became my new normal. And I think that is the key takeaway here. Growth and comfort do not live in the same place. You can have one or you can chase the other all day. You cannot have both. And obviously, I am not saying you should never relax. That is not the point. This is not about becoming some perfect robot that works 18 hours a day and never enjoys life. I still relax, I still watch videos, I still take days off. The difference is I control comfort now, instead of comfort controlling me. Because if you can only do things that feel easy, then comfort owns you. And that is a terrible way to live, because life is never going to always feel easy. There will be boring days, hard days, stress, failure, pressure, moments where you do not feel motivated at all. And if your whole life has trained you to run from discomfort, you will fold the second real life hits you. I see this all the time with people I know. They get their first job out of college and they are excited for like a month. Then they realize work is actually hard. It requires showing up every day. It requires dealing with difficult people. It requires doing things you do not want to do, and instead of pushing through, they quit, they look for something easier, they hop from job to job, never staying long enough to actually grow, and 5 years later, they are still in entry-level positions wondering why they are not where they wanted to be. Or I see it with friends who want to start a business, they have a great idea, they are excited for like a week, then they realize building a business means doing a million uncomfortable things. Cold emails, networking, learning new skills, dealing with rejection, and so they give up. They tell themselves it was not the right time. They tell themselves the market was bad. They tell themselves anything to avoid admitting they just got uncomfortable and quit. And I am not judging them because I was them. I was exactly that person. But the difference between where I was and where I am now is not talent. It is not luck. It is not some secret strategy I learned from a rich guy on Instagram. It is just consistently choosing the uncomfortable thing over the comfortable thing, day after day after day. And I will be real with you. It is still hard sometimes. Even now I have days where I want to stay in bed and do nothing. I have days where I want to order pizza and watch movies for 12 hours. I have days where discipline feels impossible, but the difference is I have trained myself to push through that feeling. I have built the habit of doing the hard thing even when I do not feel like it, and that habit has changed every single area of my life. My finances are better, my health is better, my relationships are better, my career is better, because I stopped letting comfort call the shots. That is why this matters so much, especially when you are young, because the habits you build right now are teaching your brain how to live. If you keep choosing easy, easy becomes your identity. You become the kind of person who avoids, the kind of person who delays, the kind of person who quits the second things, stop feeling good, and that happens slowly. That is why a lot of people do not even notice it. They do not wake up one day and decide to become weak. They just spend years choosing comfort over effort, comfort over discipline, comfort over growth. And after a while, they cannot even handle basic difficulty anymore. Their attention span is gone. Their patience is gone. Their work ethic is gone. Not because they were born that way, but because they trained themselves to live that way. That is what comfort does to you if you let it take over. It makes you softer every day. And the worst part is the world will not care. The world is not going to lower the price of success because you got too used to living easy. It is still going to reward people who can focus, who can stay consistent, who can do hard things, even when they do not feel like it. That is reality. And most people watching this probably already know if this is about them. Because deep down you can feel it, when you have been hiding in comfort, when you have been avoiding what needs to be done, when your whole routine is built around cheap dopamine and easy distractions. The problem is most people will not change. They will hear this, they will agree with it, and then 5 minutes later they will go right back into the same old habits. Because comfort is addictive. That is the whole point. It pulls you in slowly, it makes excuses sound reasonable. It makes weakness feel normal, and if you are not careful, you will waste years of your life without even realizing it. So no, comfort is not always harmless. Sometimes comfort is the exact thing holding your life back. Sometimes the reason you feel stuck is not because life is unfair. It is because you got used to easy mode. And if that is true, then the fix is also simple. Not easy, but simple. Start doing things that make you uncomfortable. Wake up when you said you would. Do the work even when you do not feel like it. Stay focused a little longer. Stop escaping every time life feels hard, because the longer you stay addicted to comfort, the weaker you become. And one day you are going to look at your life and realize you did not lose to some big enemy. You lost to a life that felt too easy. I want to leave you with something I wish someone had told me when I was 21 and broke and clueless. The discomfort you are avoiding right now is not your enemy. It is actually the path to everything you want. The uncomfortable conversation you need to have is the one that will fix the relationship. The uncomfortable budget you need to write is the one that will fix your money. The uncomfortable workout you are skipping is the one that will change your body. The uncomfortable skill you are avoiding learning is the one that will level up your career. Every single thing you want is on the other side of discomfort, and every single thing you want to avoid is on the other side of comfort. So choose wisely, because every small choice adds up, and you are not going to wake up one day as a completely different person. You are going to wake up as the person you have been building every day through your choices. So start building someone you are proud of. Start today, not tomorrow. Start with one uncomfortable thing right now. That is it. Peace.